James Stroll says, thanks from a fellow Grove City grad. You're a big part of my journey towards Rome. My question, my family and I, wife and 4 children, are currently Anglican and my wife is still not ready to swim the Tiber. At what point does my patient praying and visiting Mass become disobedience? In other words, how long can I wait to make the journey as a family?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to respect her freedom because you're not the source of it. God is. You're just recognizing and respecting it. But you also have to ask her to respect yours. And that is, I don't want to put a strain on our marriage. I don't want to put a strain on our family. But I don't want to put a strain in the most fundamental relationship of all, and that is with the Lord of Lords, the Lord of my life. And so when I finally came clean and told Kimberly, delaying obedience to what I know is true is feeling more like disobedience every day, it hit her heart. And I'd rehearsed that line.
In
she
the
could
mirror.
tell. Yeah. More like on my knees. But, it was the breakthrough. And she said, I don't want to take away your freedom to obey your Lord. And I said, and I don't want to insert myself or impose myself on you and your freedom. That works differently in every marriage. And so one size doesn't fit all. But I think you ought to approach her that way and just say, I love you, God loves you, and I feel like I need the sacraments to love you more like you deserve to be loved. And that is not just rhetorical, tricky.
Yeah.
It really is what I would say and pass a polygraph. And see where the chips fall. Yeah. And you could say to her, if you really aren't ready, in fact, if you are so unready that if I become a Catholic, you will leave me and take the kids, then let's circle back and pray together for God's timing in this.
That's really helpful.
And when I shared for the first time as a new Catholic with a group down in South Milwaukee about my conversion, I came back all excited. Kimberly's like, oh, gee, I mean, you're a Christian, okay? You become a Catholic. And so you're all excited about becoming a Catholic and you share that with people. Why not just share with, well, I did, And she said, well, if I ever become a Catholic, I don't want to share my journey to the Catholic faith. I said, I don't want you to become a Catholic unless you long to share that. And only when you long to share it is it the right time for you to become a Catholic. Then it's no longer pressure or you feeling forced to do it.
Golly. And that probably just gave her the space.
It was like we hugged, and it's like, I mean that. It isn't just clever. And
I love what you said. Yeah, you can't control her freedom. You're not the source of it. I like that line. That's good.
And again, truth is the best form of therapy, just discovering more and more of the relevant truths that apply to a difficult situation. But there's another thing too, and that is recognize and affirm wholeheartedly that we agree on like 80, 85, maybe 93%. Look at the Creed, look at the New Testament, look at all of the things we believe about Jesus. And if she's Anglican, the Eucharist, let's not be sloppy and just paint over the lines, but at the same time, let's affirm the fact that we share so much more in common than where we disagree. But like typical spouses, we will obsess about our divergences and our differences instead of focusing and celebrating the fact that we share more in common than most couples we know. And then let's just we'll just continue walking on the common ground we share, recognizing where we don't agree. It matters, but what we share is greater and it matters more, and let's build upon that common ground, not only for the sake of our kids, but for your sake, for my sake, to get my soul safely to heaven. I have to love you as God loves you, and you're his daughter, not just my bride. And so, just lining up all of the truths that we tend to neglect and just saying, okay, let's take stock of all of this stuff. I must admit, I do think that people who have been Anglicans for a long time have at once a great advantage and a great disadvantage. The disadvantage is that it's a look-alike.
Yeah.
In some ways, it might even be more pious and transcendent and irreverent than the parish down the street. On the other hand, the advantage is, if you've come to believe in the liturgy, and if you recognize the real presence of Christ in the sacrament, then recognize the unbroken line of apostolic, whatever else you need to recognize, it's a hop, skip, and a jump. Tomorrow I'm going to be driving, I think between 3 and 4 hours to where? Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, to be a sponsor for a lady who's coming into the church who I met 40 years ago In fact, in Rome Sweet Home, I just checked this, on page 47 of Rome Sweet Home, this 9th grader came up to me at lunch and said, we took a vote in the back of the class and it's unanimous. We think with all this covenant theology from the Bible, you're going to become a Catholic.
This.
And I'm like, Rebecca, no. This is the antidote to the poison of Catholicism.
Hello, I want to say thank you to Hallow, which is the best, not just the best Catholic app on the App Store, any App Store, it's the best app out of any app that's ever existed, Catholic or otherwise. I think it's finally time to say that. If you want to grow in your prayer life, please check out hallow.com/Matt. If you sign up on their website at hallow.com/Matt, you can get the entire app for free for 90 days. That's ridiculous. After those 90 days, if you don't agree with me that it's worth the money that you're going to get charged after that monthly, which is a relatively small amount, you can just cancel. You won't be charged a cent. They have sleep stories. They have My Catholic Lo-Fi on there. They've just added the Gospels, a dramatized version of the Gospels. They have daily exegesis on mass readings, which you can listen to. It is fantastic. So if you haven't done it already, hallow.com/Matt, sign up over there. Try it for free for 3 months.
We think with all this covenant theology from the Bible, you're going to become a Catholic. And I'm like, Rebecca, no. This is the antidote to the poison of Catholicism. She was so bright. She was the whiz kid, and she was smug. And she's like, no, you're going to become a Catholic. And she walked back. I got home. I told Kimberly, you'll never guess what Rebecca said today, because she was always the wise guy. And I thought Kimberly would laugh, and she did anything but. She stared holes right through my head. Are you? I'm like, Luther. She's like, you feel like Luther in reverse, And I'm like, Luther in reverse, yikes. I didn't even know how to respond to that. Yeah. And so tomorrow I get to be the sponsor 40 years after for her coming into the Catholic Church, the fullness of faith from being an Anglican.
That is amazing. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.